Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking something pretty wild. How did a single internet meme spark a massive political earthquake here in India? And more importantly, what does this whole cockroach phenomenon teach us about the actual power of critical thinking? We're going to see how a single word triggered an online explosion and how we can use structured logic to navigate through all that noise. Let's dive right in.
We're breaking this down into 5 quick parts today. First up, the viral phenomenon itself. Then, we'll look at the youth unemployment crisis behind it, the trap of slacktivism, the absolute superpower that is scientific temperament, and finally, how to move from just being angry to actually taking action.
Section 1. The viral cockroach phenomenon. Let's look at the specific spark that set the internet on fire.
Okay, so back on May 15th, 2026, during an open hearing, a Supreme Court oral observation allegedly referred to unemployed youth as, quote, cockroaches and parasites of society. Now, even though there were later clarifications saying the words were completely misquoted, the internet, it didn't care. The impact was instant. It hit a deeply sensitive nerve, and the backlash was immediate.
And when I say massive, I mean staggering. 1.5 crore. That's 15 million people. Literally, within 2 days, a satirical movement calling itself the Cockroach Janta Party, or CJP, absolutely exploded on Instagram. I mean, they bypassed the digital footprints of major, established political parties overnight, claiming to be the voice of the lazy and unemployed. But, we gotta ask, was this just a huge internet joke? Or is it a symptom of something way deeper?
Section 2. India's youth unemployment crisis. Because to really understand that anger, we have to look past the memes.
We need to look at the sobering economic data driving this crisis. And there's a huge disconnect here. If you look at the national unemployment rate, it's sitting quietly at 5.1%. Sounds okay, right? But wait, the periodic labor force survey shows that for youth ages 15 to 29, that rate is 3 times higher, 15.2%. For educated urban youth, that number climbs even higher. So this outrage isn't coming out of nowhere. It's directly fueled by these numbers.
But here's where it gets really tough. It's not just about finding a job. It's about being equipped for one. A Mercer Metal report dropped a harsh reality check. Over half of our graduates, 57.4% to be exact, are actually deemed unemployable by industry standards. That is a massive gap between getting a degree and actually having the skills the modern world needs. So you've got this whole generation that did everything right. They studied, they passed the exams, they got the degrees, and yet they still find themselves locked out of the system.
Section 3. The trap of slacktivism. Now, here is the catch with all this digital momentum.
Raw digital anger has a very short shelf life if there's no structure behind it. We absolutely have to distinguish between slacktivism, those quick, emotionally driven clicks, and real systemic change. Sure, the CJP got 5 lakh online form signups instantly, but let's be real. Filling out a form takes what, 30 seconds? What actually moves the needle is organized boots on the ground, structural civic participation, going to a voting booth. Without that, an anonymous online crowd just scatters the second the next internet trend drops.
History actually proves this. Think back to the 2011 India Against Corruption movement. The Anna Hazare agitation captured the entire nation's attention in a flash. But look at the timeline. It took years to see structural change. A party formed in 2012, a law passed in 2013, and the very first Lokpal wasn't even appointed until 2019, 8 long years. Building a solid institution requires deep, sustained, offline grit.
Section 4. Power of scientific temperament. So how do we actually fix this? How do we turn that fleeting online energy into a permanent tool for civic accountability? Well, your ultimate constitutional shield isn't a viral hashtag. It's actually something called scientific temperament. Added to the Indian Constitution back in 1976, it's a fundamental duty for every single citizen to develop a spirit of inquiry, humanism, and logical questioning. Basically, it means treating politicians as public servants whose salaries we pay and constantly demanding evidence over emotion. This is absolutely crucial for modern youth to challenge political claims.
So how do you put that into practice? It's all about these 4 simple steps. Whenever you see a political claim, from any side, even from a viral movement you totally agree with, you've got to hit pause and ask, 1. What is the proof? 2. What does the actual data say? 3. Who ultimately benefits from pushing this narrative? And 4, and this is probably the hardest one, could I be wrong? Applying these questions acts like a filter. It strips away the manipulation and gets you straight to the facts. Section 5. From anger to action. Let's look at how we apply this scientific temperament in the real world. Consider this your accountability playbook. How do we bridge the gap between being outraged and actually getting output? On a personal level, it means pivoting from just collecting degrees to doing real skill-based learning. Pick up the communication, data, and problem-solving skills the market actually wants. It means verifying source data before you blindly hit share. And, collectively, it means organizing offline. Volunteer groups, filing RTIs to force the government to give direct answers, voting in local elections. It's about taking those emotional slogans and translating them into concrete, legally sound policy demands.
So I'm going to leave you with this one thought. When the next big wave of viral outrage hits, and it will, are you just going to be a passive follower? Are you just going to fill out an online form and move on? Or are you going to use logical questioning and scientific temperament to demand real accountability and become an active architect of a news system? The anger is just the alarm clock. Waking up and doing the work? That choice is entirely yours. Thanks for tuning into this explainer, and keep asking the right questions.